Hello everyone, and welcome back to round 2 of the 2020 Silver Cup presented by Discmania. We are watching GK Pro coverage sponsored by Discraft. This is Nathan Queen, and I am again here with Brian Earhart.
What's up, Lefty? How you doing?
Doing good, glad to be back.
Oh yeah. We have an awesome tournament card today. We have a couple or three faces that you're pretty familiar with, and then a new face on one of these feature cards. We have Phill Diloné from Michigan, Discraft Underground team member, shooting a 9 down. Calvin Heimburg, Philo Brathwaite, and Emerson Keith shooting an 8 down on this really interesting course to score on.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot of people that kind of got close to a hot round and then simmered down, or a lot of back and forth on those scorecards with birdies and bogeys. So it'll be interesting to watch how it goes this round.
Yep, and hole one, like we said before, it's 250 feet, and there's two different gaps to choose, but neither are very easy to match. Either you're going an inside flex through this gap the drone's flying, maybe not this low, but there's also a straighter, more subtle turnover gap. And it looks like Phill is going with a mid-range or a putter. I think he's throwing a meteor actually here.
It looks like he's going to go for that flex shot off to the right, which is a little more open, but it is a hard line.
Phill gets up there. One thing about Phill, if you haven't played with him or watched him play, he is very aggressive, throws a mile, and runs putts from very long distances.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to play with him the first round and got to watch that 9 down that he had. And he was, like Brian was saying, super aggressive. And Philo hitting that kind of straighter gap that you were looking for with the backhand, which is a super technical shot. And he's up there in the circle.
And I asked Calvin last night what this blue disc is that he's throwing. It is a DX AVR X3 that he seasoned pretty well. So it's an overstable putter, and as you can see, he has seasoned it. So it's a disc that he is still trying to figure out. I think he liked it initially as an overstable disc, and now as it's seasoning, he's trying to find a spot for it in his bag. Turned it over a little bit too much out of the hand.
Yeah, he's asked me about the star plastic that I throw from my AVR X3s before, because that one got a little too turnover on him. So.
And Emerson going just justice, forehand.
Off the base.
No BS here. Putting it right under the basket. Great shot.
This is a little more like what we expected for the first round, to get a couple people inside the circle and have a couple putts. Oh, that looks so good. Just bounces off the rim. Here we go with Phil's first film putt. Just a little bit low. Not a bad bid, though. He'll be right there for his par.
I love the bucket hat choice for the film card. I love that.
Got to keep the sun off.
Philo from about 35. Philo is one of the best long putters I've ever seen. I've not seen a player get in so much trouble and then scramble out with like a 60-footer. It's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, it seems like anytime you watch Philo, you'll see him make 2 or 3 from 50 to 60 range. And today, this hole was averaging a quarter stroke under par, 2.75. So good starting hole, get you started before we move to hole 2 here, which is a 423-foot par 3-4.
3-4, yeah.
With Mando on the right side of the fairway. You want to get up to the top of the hill on your first shot if you can. It's kind of a tight gap, and then throw a little floaty shot down here to land by the basket.
The common miss that we're seeing are players throwing this turnover backhand and then hitting a tree. The gaps to get through here are pretty tight, and then you'll roll bounce left, which makes the birdie look, or the supposed par look, very challenging. And Philo has put it pretty much exactly where you want it to be.
Yeah, it looks like he snuck in between a couple trees there on that right gap, and that is exactly where you want to be.
This reminds me of a lot of par 4s that I played in Charlotte during the quarantine before everything got locked down. You can go mid-range on this and get a safe 3.
Emerson going with the higher forehand. I think that's the more preferred line. Mm-hmm. And it works out just great for him. He's up at the top of the hill, and we'll be able to see the basket.
I think Phil's going with the meteor again.
An intense stare down the fairway. Looks like he's got the gap also.
And he's got that disc dialed.
Oh, yeah. All 3 great drives so far, even though it says par 3 on here and they're not by the basket.
And a Meteor is a disc that's kind of underrepresented in the Discraft lineup. Vanessa Van Dyken has a Signature Series Meteor, and I actually don't see many other players throwing it. It's like a faster Comet. So pretty cool that he's throwing that.
Looks like this could be an AVR from Calvin here. And another great drive. He's up at the top of the hill with a little bit of stuff in the way. He's a versatile player, though. I don't see it being too much of an issue.
With this fast disc that he's throwing, he's got to watch the downslope of the green.
And it just sat down. This green was really soft. I had one spike in Tombstone that I didn't even throw hard, so.
Not common on that type of slope. Phil's sidearm kind of gets sawed off a little bit. He's about 30 feet.
He'll still have a chance for his par here. And this is looking pretty good from Emerson. He's just going to drop it right underneath it. Philo getting a little floaty. It kind of glides out, fades out to the left a little bit. He'll have a circle's edge putt to get his par.
Great putt there from Phil. Again, they call it a par, but there have been no 2s on this hole, so it is definitely scoring as a par 4. I think the Mando definitely creates that.
And it averaged the second round 3.73, so almost 3/4 of a stroke over par. It looks like we're going to see a par frame here, which is really good for this hole.
Yeah, a nice par frame.
That'll move us on to hole 5, which is where the down tree was during the first round coverage. They've now cleaned that up. So the tree's still on the ground, but it's limbed up. You've got 365 feet. Righty forehand flex shot's going to be preferred play here if they've got it. Or you can throw a right-handed backhand that stands up and kind of drifts straight and maybe get some good play off of the hill.
And with the down tree being gone, it opens up that lower hyzer route to kind of play for a safe 3, because the shape of this hole is very challenging. The gap is pretty tight to hit, and you have to shape through that gap to make sure you don't go too straight.
Yeah, Philo missing just to the left there. He's going to have probably a pretty obstructed look off to the left.
Here's Emerson's first backhand of the day.
Gets off to the right, kind of sneaks into the rough stuff there.
There is a lane in the back that he could potentially jump putt through. Maybe not for a birdie look. Definitely for a safe 3.
Phil almost sneaking through that inside gap, but he kicks off into some rough on the right. He'll have kind of the fairway to deal with there. It just depends on his footing.
I'm guessing this is an eagle. And that's the play that a lot of players are looking to do, is just give themselves some sort of circle 2 look rather than shaping the disc on 2 different angles, just pushing a hyzer out to the left.
Yeah, that's the if you're not trying, there's not too many 2s on this hole, so Calvin played it right there, just hitting the fairway, and he'll have a circle 2 putt to get his birdie while the rest of the people scramble on his card to try to get their par.
Mm-hmm. Phil with a fortunate lie here.
Going thumber.
And that's something that you might see a lot more of Phil. He has a huge thumb game as well, and he'll throw he'll throw those little corkscrew thumbers that skip. It's very fun to watch him play.
Cool looking line there from Emerson. Hits that last little skinny tree. You can see he didn't have much to work with there. Calvin for his birdie, get a stroke on the card.
Wow.
Dead center, man. What a putt.
Absolute dead center.
Let's see it again.
Just comes out with almost no wobble. Just a perfect mix of spin and speed. He's got that putt dialed right now.
Oh, look at that. Did you see how happy he was? He even clapped his hands.
He even clapped his hands. Emotion from the young man.
Oh, and Philo giving it a good bid from there. That was a pretty awkward stance.
Just off the top for Phil. I'll have to settle for 4.
Philo getting the 4 as well. This hole is pretty tricky. If you don't hit that gap and get some kicks, you can end up scrambling.
There's so many of those little skinny trees that shape the fairway, and if you're off early, it's not easy.
So here we are at hole 4, which is, again, the iconic lighthouse hole. Short par 4, 450 feet. Kind of a righty backhand. You want to get up, maybe skip off this ground right here and get around this corner. And then you've got beautiful Lake Michigan with a raised lighthouse basket. And this is a birdie you really want to get. It makes you feel good, plus you get to see something cool.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. The 3 feels like the number you have to get. A 2 is going to feel like an eagle, and a 4 is going to feel like a bogey on this one.
That needs to hurry. Okay, real stable.
And that's a play that I think is the trick to this tee shot. It looks like you can throw something just straight, but if you push too long, there's a lot of rough out there. So you actually want to kind of cut it off a little bit early and almost throw a bit of a skip shot, or try what Emerson's doing here. I think he's going for the green.
It looked like he was trying to go inside of that last tree, but I think he got caught up pretty early. I saw some stuff moving around. We'll see where he ended up at. Looks like this might be a beast from Philo.
Sweet disc selection.
Good skip right through that inside gap. He'll be most likely pitching up to get his 3 there. That was a great shot.
And I think this is a Nuke OS from Phil. Oh, no.
Oh, almost got him a spectator. Not a good kick there, but he will. He should have a chance to get his 3 still. He's still kind of in play.
Emerson tries a chop flick to try to get it out there, and I think he came up a little short. Still going challenger.
Oh, he caught those last leaves. It's going to leave him a little shorter than he wanted. I imagine he's going to run that scary putt, though.
It's going to be one of those tempting putts.
Calvin playing it pretty well. That's about where he was yesterday for his 3. He should clean that up. Philo laying it up there. It looks like he might have wanted to be a little closer, but I think he's all right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Are you kidding me?
That is a bold putt.
What a run from Emerson, and he just drains it. Heiser putt, trying to control the distance just in case he misses, but I don't think he didn't have to worry about that at all.
Nope.
What a scramble 3.
And now Phil risks being big putted by Emerson.
Oh, and he surely did want that. It's hard to miss high on this basket. It's elevated a good 7 feet probably.
That's a great comeback putt from Phil.
Yeah.
Again, this wind coming off Lake Michigan, especially on this little peninsula this basket's on, is very treacherous with how uphill and nose up you have to throw your putt. Maybe not for Calvin, who's 8'5", but all the rest of the humans. It is a high basket.
Yeah, he didn't even use the stairs over there. Philo, a little high right, but good putt either way. Caught a lot of chains. And here we move on to hole 5, 330 feet, and today it was the 5K, 10K ace hole. If you aced it with a trilogy disc, it was worth $10,000, and if you aced it with another
non-trilogy disc.
It was worth $5,000. So here we've got Calvin trying to get his $5,000 ace.
Yeah, did he...
Oh, that's got to go right. It came out a little early.
Did he club up to a driver on that one?
It looked like it might have been a mid-range,
Okay.
but it definitely was not the same disc putter that he threw yesterday.
Yeah, you got to believe that every one of these players are not going for a park job here.
Yeah, this is a lot of money up for grabs in one shot.
And this is a hole, you know, that was famously aced by Johnny McRae with a putter a few years ago. And I think people are really licking their chops at this.
Emerson coming up a little short, catching the top of those shrubs. We've got a DX rock here out of Philo. Good choice for the hole. It seems like there is some headwind when you're on the tee, but then once you start throwing nose up, it doesn't affect it the way that you think it will,
Yep.
which could be kind of why those first two players faded off to the left.
Yeah, and the wind seemed to kind of knock his shot down too.
It's kind of a strange wind. It feels headwind, but you're not real sure what it's doing. It looks like Phil's got a buzz in his hand here.
I think that's a Buzz SS, actually.
And it did come out pretty early on him. Got the extra camera there, extra nerves for the $5,000 or $10,000. So let's see some players try to scramble for par here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good shot from Phil there. About 18 feet for his par. Emerson can still give this a bid. He's maybe 75, 80 feet. Philo as well. These are kind of the putts we were talking about. Just looked a little soft off of his hand. It didn't fully commit to that one.
And this is one of those tee shots where you really can't feel the wind off the tee. So it's a little frustrating to see all these shots get knocked down pretty short. As you can see, Calvin comes up a little bit short, misses that putt.
Philo coming back for his par. So on an easier hole here, it looks like we're going to have 3 pars and a bogey. A little surprising for Chase Card. But when there's that much money on the line, it really can change stuff pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Emerson cleaning up his par. Then Calvin coming to tap in his bogey. He's a pretty good bounce back player. I feel like we'll see him come back strong.
And especially on a hole like this, hole number 6, par 4, you really want to stay on the line that the drone is flying. The more off center you get, the tougher your shot is into this funneled green up top. The real goal here is to just pipe a driver up the gut. And Calvin, as we saw yesterday, absolutely blasted his drive here. So
yeah, he didn't even have to worry about the second shot too much. He got so far up there.
So we will see if he can bounce back from that bogey.
Looks like Emerson might be lining up a roller here.
I believe, if looking at the UDIS stats, this hole was eagled. Not sure by who, though. It's a decent line if it misses.
Oh, it just catches that bush. However, that's a pretty good spot to be. He's pretty in the middle of the fairway, and he's got up as far as you want to get. So he'll have a pretty good upshot.
Philo's drifting a little bit too much to the right. He'll be caught in that bush.
Yeah, that's going to be tough from there. He'll be playing for par, it seems like. We did have 1-2 on this hole. We'll let you know after this. Won't spoil it for you just in case it's one of these guys.
And that's a beautiful throw there from Phil. Straight up the gut. It looks like Calvin's got one of his signature destroyers. Little bit of a shank
low.
off to the right.
Oh, going towards Philo. He kind of cut rolled back towards that bush there.
Looks like he's out in the open. He still has a little bit of a shot to this funneled green.
Looks like that DX AVR X3 just catching the entry of that gap. It's a pretty tight gap to hit when you're not close to it.
Push, no.
Philo almost squeaking through on the left side. He'll still have a putt. It looks like he stayed on the edge of the rough and right around circle's edge. Look at the touch on that.
That's a sweet sidearm from
Tink.
Emerson.
So much touch. That was a great shot.
There we go, Phil. That's what I want to see. And he parks the thumber over the top.
From touch to power. Let's go.
Somebody clip that. That was sweet.
Here we got Calvin. Probably going to try to give this a bid for his 3. And it's looking pretty good. Just fades off to the left, though.
You really don't see a lot of thumbers anymore. We're seeing a lot more grenades from top players, but it's refreshing to see that as an option now.
Oh, Philo just floating, staying a little high on that one. See, he's wanting to get this one. So this hole average 3.79. So it's playing as a really good par 4. And Ricky Wysocki was the 1-2 that we had on this hole.
And I remember hearing that from someone who practiced with him, that he was just throwing a roller up the gut and getting it into the mouth of the hole.
That's just incredible. And there we go, Emerson playing it right.
Very clean tap in from Emerson. So this is the big eagleable par 4. The drone is flying the right gap, which is a safe hyzer out to this fairway, and then you'll get up and down for the 3. There is a left gap that was cleaned up a little bit, and the righties are going to be throwing a power flat shot with some sort of control or distance driver. This hole was playing quite a bit under par, I believe, because of the eagles that we had on this hole. Not sure how many we had, but definitely for the power righties, this is definitely gettable here.
Yeah, I believe just in round 2 there were actually 10 eagles here. That what they cleared out on the left side makes it so much easier for a righty to just throw a hyzer pretty much. It's a little bit of flex, but it's, it's made it to less. It's a questionable par 4 now.
Yeah.
With the cleanup that was done.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see 1 or 2 of those eagles
Ooh, and that's
from this
a
card.
decent looking line
This
here.
is looking
from
good
Phil.
if
That's
it
gotta
fades
push.
out.
Sweet.
Oh, and he gets through the trees. I think he's inside the circle, or right around circle's edge.
Yeah, great shot. Yeah, the gap to go for the eagle now is almost too much to, or it's almost too open to not go for. But it looks like Philo's betting against the field here and just playing a safe shot out to the fairway.
Yeah, getting a little lucky and punching through there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this hole actually played as 3.21, so it's playing as a
tough par 3.
As a tough par 3 rather than a par 4. And Calvin's shot here looks pretty good. I think he's gonna come in off to the left just like yesterday, right outside the circle.
And the rare Philo forehand coming in just nicely.
Yeah,
Great
he
shot.
doesn't pull it out real often, but when I've seen it, he's pretty on point with it. Emerson looks like he's got a little eagle bid here. Tough stance, kind of pulled it high, trying to get enough height on it.
Just business as usual, I suppose.
Yeah, floating it on in.
It's just such a simple line his putts fly on. They just seem to be so flat and so stable.
Not much movement.
Yeah.
Just,
It almost seems to
Right.
not matter what distance. Here's Phil.
that's 2 eagles on the card. What a putt. That was a good putt.
That was a great putt from Phil. And a beautiful drive as well.
Philo cleaning up his birdie. So we're yesterday we were 5 down on the hole. We're 6 down on the hole today. So just tearing this hole up.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, I'm Paige Pierce, and today I'm going to talk to you about my 2020 Tour Series disc, the Buzz. What I love about this disc is its versatility. It's almost as far as a fairway driver, but it's so straight like a mid-range. The Buzz is a staple in my bag. I think this mold is perfect for anybody. With its slow speed and its controllable flight, it's good for all skill levels, and anybody would benefit from having a Buzz in their bag.
Cameron Messerschmidt here, PDGA number 58814 with Team Storm Disc Golf. Here we have the Storm Maelstrom, an 11-speed distance driver, straight to overstable, and we're gonna smash a couple of these over the water.
Right, and here we are on hole 8, 362 foot downhill, kind of off camera fairway here, sloping left down to the right. And right at the end, the basket kind of tucks back up to the left. For a righty backhand, you're going to want to throw a straight to hyzer and kind of skip right there around those wood chips. And let's see what Phil gets going here.
Throws it a little high. Nice kick down to the middle of the fairway.
Yeah, good drop there. He'll be able to play for his par pretty easily. Now this whole play is pretty tough. It doesn't really play that far, but just the angle of the fairway, the ceiling on it, and that slope always seems to do something a little strange. That was almost a replay from Calvin's shot yesterday. He's left it a little bit shorter, but he's still well inside the circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really nice shot these players are forced to throw because they have to throw down, challenge this low ceiling, but they also have to throw a hyzer that they can't swing wide. So it's a very precise line they have to throw here with a faster disc if they want to get the skip they want.
Yeah, and Emerson came off just a little early. Philo's overcorrected that, let go just a little late, but he's got a good kick, and he'll be there close to Phil, trying to pitch up for their pars. That come off a little funny, a little early maybe from Phil. He'll still have a putt for his par there. He's been putting well, so hopefully he can clean that up. Oh man, that's kind of an unlucky bridge roll there. It looked like he was going to sit right on the edge. That's not OB or anything. He still's got a putt there, but a little further than he wanted for sure.
Nice little chip shot there from Emerson.
Great ankle control, landing it flat on the green. Not much chance of a roll away.
And
just a little right side there. That's unfortunate. He's playing well. I'm sure he'll turn it back around though. Calvin trying to redeem the card on the hole, got his birdie.
And his putt just looks so dialed right now. It almost feels like he's never going to miss a single putt again.
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will.
Oh, no.
Speaking of that, Philo, after the kind of rough roll on that upshot, does not capitalize on the comeback.
Hole's playing pretty rough on the chase card here, and overall it did average over par, 3.12, so pretty tough hole for a par 3. But for a righty backhand, we move on to a pretty easy par 4 here on the next hole.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one that could potentially be eagled. I think a lot of players are playing for this low, overstable disc along the road, getting the skip right in front of those cedars out in the background. And once you're down the hill, you have a pretty routine chip shot up to the basket, but there is a high hyzer route like we were talking about yesterday, that if you do want an eagle, there is an opportunity to put one down there if you go high. And I believe Calvin has that shot in his repertoire. We'll see if he actually tries lining it up.
And we did have 3 eagles on this hole yesterday.
Calvin is going for the safer shot. He did cut it a little inside.
He's a little inside. I think he'll have an open look, though. It depends on what that did after the skip.
It looks like Emerson's also lining up the flat shot over the road.
What do you do on this hole, Brian?
I go lefty sidearm because I'm not a true lefty like yourself. But I know the true lefty in this hole has a real tough time getting off the tee.
Yeah, it's not the easiest hole to get off of. I have come away with the 3 both rounds so far, though.
Shout outs to true lefties out there.
Here we got Phil. He'll be lining up that low line over the road. Came out with a little hyzer on that one. Catches some branches, stays in bounds. He still has an opportunity to save his 3. He should be able to go wide enough, staying that far back where that light pole is not too much in play.
Philo going smooth shot. Little early.
That's a little high left. He'll be maybe one of his forehands. He might be trying to do a little flex left to right.
It looks like Phil's going to go high. And that's a Nuke OS, I believe.
Big high highs. They're starting to push left. Oh, wow.
Oh, yes.
I think he played it that way on
Sweet
purpose.
Shot.
Man. That was great. Forehand roller from Philo here. It looks like it got a bad bounce when it hit the ground. It's on a good angle. He's still outside of circle 2 there.
Yeah, and with how much rain Wisconsin's been getting recently, the ground has been super soft.
Calvin from in the bushes with the little forehand touch shot.
Yeah, nice little shot there.
Oh, Philo on a good line. He'll be tapping in for his 4 here. Emerson with the eagle putt.
I actually don't know, to be honest with you. I didn't quite see where his drive landed, but I do know his shot was pretty good.
Yeah, he's floated out here to close to circle's edge again, maybe 29 feet. And hits that for his birdie. So that was his eagle putt a second ago. Great drive. Great comeback putt after running it for the eagle. Calvin with the no stress birdie there. Philo with the par on the hole. It does feel more like a bogey on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
4 doesn't feel good. Phil cleaning up his birdie after a great second shot up over the top.
And that about wraps it up for our front 9 of round 2 here. Thanks for tuning in. We had Emerson Keith, 13 under par, Calvin tying him. Phil staying afloat at 11 under par. Philo with a couple mishaps on the card at 9 under par. We will catch you on the back 9 here. Make sure to subscribe to GK Pro, and I'm Brian Earhart and Nathan Queen.
We'll see you guys there.
Later.